So as you can see, it's a meme. Hopefully you can see it all right. I'll just adjust it a bit more and then we'll start. Um, so the meme is, there's a guy and he's holding a list and it's a meme, right? So it's a meme. So he's not, anyways, forget about the guy holding the list. But basically the point of the meme is these are all the United States government's lies. So, and then it says Guinness World Records. Should the United States government okay, let me start again. Should the United States government win the Guinness World Record for most lies told by a government? So let's zoom in actually to this part, and then you guys can see it better. So the government's told a lot of lies, the United States government. The Canadian government is probably worse, to be honest. But the Canadian government is better at covering up their lies. So it's like the Canadian government has lied more than the United States government. But because the Canadian government covered everything up, if I go out into the street and say, "Hey everyone, the Canadian government lied about this, this, and this," and you're like, "Well, where's how do we had no idea," but then if I go out in the street and say, "Hey everyone, remember when Americans, Bill Clinton lied in the White House about Monica Lewinsky? Remember when George Bush lied about the weapons of mass destruction? Remember when Trump lied about Stormy Daniels? Remember when Hillary Clinton lied about the emails, right? Remember when Anthony Fauci lied about COVID?" So you see, there's all of these you know, and maybe the United States also did a lot of cover up too. Maybe the United States lies so much that they still cover up a lot, but still stuff manages to get through, right? That's another way to look at it. But knowing what I know from Canada, I would say, I mean, only because I'm from Canada, there's a lot of stuff that Canada has covered up that Americans and Canadians don't know about. So do you think that the United States government should win the Guinness World Record for most lies told by a government? If you think yes or no, write in the comments. Welcome to the live chat. My live chats or anything goes. I'm not, you go into another person's live stream and they're like, please, they give you like a list of things to say and not say. Please be respectful. Oh, you're just assuming I'm not going to be respectful. That's kind of rude to people coming in your live stream. Then they're like, don't promote yourself. Uh, okay, well, thank you for being selfish and you only want to promote yourself. I don't promote myself anyways on other people's live streams, but it's like you go in their live stream and they suddenly you have to agree to like this laundry list of things. Like don't promote yourself, be respectful. Like they talk to you as if you're like, they talk condescending to you. And I don't do none of that. You come in my live stream, anything goes. Anything could happen in my live streams. Almost anything could happen in terms of free speech, right? I'm not like one of those crazy YouTubers that does just anything for views. No, I am open to freedom of speech and discussion, okay? But I'm not gonna go skydiving just to get the top YouTube video on YouTube. I'm not gonna go skydiving and jump out of a plane skydiving because I'm afraid of skydiving, and skydiving is crazy, in my opinion. You're jumping out of a plane. Like I know you have a parachute, but like what if the parachute malfunctions, which it has in the past? I don't know how anyone these days still does skydiving, honestly. It's so dangerous. But I guess it's because they get like an adrenaline rush, right? I know, like I've thought about it. Obviously, I'd have to do the skydiving where I was attached to someone, because you can do skydiving where you're like attached to the instructor, so that he's the one who pulls or she's the one who pulls the string and everything. But I wouldn't do it because I'm too afraid of heights and I'm too afraid of jumping out of planes, even with a parachute, like skydiving. So. But yeah, the United States government has lied about a lot. The United States government has told so many lies, like lie after lie. And then Elon Musk, we can count him. He was in the White House. He was walking around, strutting around like as if he owned the place. I wouldn't be surprised if like Trump one day was in the White House making calls, and then the next thing you know, Elon Musk is walking behind him and he's like got no clothes on. And Elon Musk is just hanging out in the White House, literally walking around the White House and made the White House his own. And that's gonna be the next Saturday Night Live sketch. The next Saturday Night Live sketch is going to be Elon Musk just like walking around without clothes in the White House, acting as if it's his home. Because the last Saturday Night Live sketch, they were making fun of the fact that Elon Musk had the chainsaw, right? And if you saw the last Saturday Night Live sketch with Trump and Zelensky, and then Elon Musk was played by Mike Myers, and then Elon Musk had the chainsaw. Well, the real Elon Musk had the chainsaw for real, and then that's why Mike Myers did the parody of Elon Musk. So, and then yeah, Trump, and then Zelensky, and then JD Vance, of course. So yeah, should the United States government win the Guinness World Record for most lies told by a government? This would be so great. And all of the countries would laugh their asses off, especially if it was a ceremony. Like, just imagine there was an actual ceremony where Guinness World Records gives the United States government a plaque, an award, a certificate saying the United States government has won the award, the Guinness World Record for most lies told by a government. And it's official and it's handed out in a plaque. Imagine just North Korea. North Korea, who's a big rival of the United States, would laugh their ass off because the Americans are always accusing the North Koreans of doing propaganda. And now the Americans themselves are winning the Guinness World Record for most lies told by a government. North Korea would laugh their ass off. Russia would laugh their ass off. Iran, the Middle East would laugh their ass off. Germany would laugh their ass off while also secretly making plans. I feel like, in terms of the world, Germany really is proactive always. I mean, and I don't just mean World War II. Even today, like when Germans walk around and they're like, "Oh, we're really chill now." No, I don't believe that. I think you're better actors. I think you say you're chill. And that's like the same with the North Koreans, except the North Koreans, they don't invade other people's countries, unlike the United States. The North Koreans are strict and they have rules, but it's like as long as you don't like, they're the type of people that as long as you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you, right? Like they just wanted to have freedom and protection for their country. They're not going like the United States is going into all these countries and bringing the United States military. When was the last time, other than South Korea, which was because they were defending their own land, but when was the last time that North Korean troops entered another country besides their own? Other than just South Korea, which is practically Korea, which they're just defending their part of the Korea, right? But the United States, like they put soldiers in Germany. The United States put soldiers in Mexico, in Iran, in the Middle East. The United States had soldiers even in Canada. The United States even had a war with those flaky Canadians like me. I could just imagine me in the War of 1812, just like standing there. I don't know what I would do in the War of 1812, but if I was in the War of 1812, Canada probably would have lost. Oh my God, that would have been bad. Canada would have lost, and then all of Canada would be American too, and there'd be football and beer everywhere and freedom. Wow. Imagine how bad it would have been if Canada lost the War of 1812, the United States. If Canada lost the War of 1812 to the United States, then Canada would have freedom right now and football and beer. Wow, how terrible that would have been if Canada lost the war to the United States of America in the War of 1812. No, but it's funny because Canadians are really proud still of that. Like Canadians in the history books, they always like when we put on Canadian history, we don't like talk about 9/11 or no, we do, but like it's more like in a different way they talk about 9/11, but like in Canadian history, like they're all about um Canada won the war against the United States, and the Canadians are so proud. Canadians are so proud of this, and Canadian teachers they like spend hours talking about how Canada beat the United States, beat those Americans. Canada won. The United States, anyways, didn't win. And Canadian teachers are so like happy and excited to talk about it. At least my Canadian teacher was, although I had three different ones because obviously I had a Canadian teacher and I had three different ones in history class because, okay, so I took history for three times. So I took three history electives in high school. And so I had two different teachers for two different history electives. And then I had one history teacher who had to leave because she got a better job at a different place. So then midway through she literally leaves in the middle of a semester. So midway through the semester, they had replaced her with another history teacher but they both hated the United States anyways. It didn't really make much difference. One of them was like, "Yeah, can Canada beat the United States in the War of 1812?" And then the other one was like, the other one just had a lot of choice words for the United States and Americans. It was funny. We talked too a lot about Nazi Germany losing, but it's more like sad. Like the teachers would be like, the really like a really sad face. Like there would be like Nazi Germany lost. I remember my history teacher. We were all like looking at each other, and after history class, all the Canadian students, because the history teacher was like, she started like with us. She started to get sad, and she said, "Yeah, so now let's talk about how Nazi Germany lost." And she looked really sad when she said Nazi Germany lost the World War II. She looked sad. She looked like she was. We're all looking at her like, "Oh, I thought you'd be happy about that Nazi Germany lost." No, she looked really sad. So, but Canada actually has a lot of Russians too, and not just Germans. Of course, there's a lot of Germans in Canada, but Canada has a lot of Russians. Wherever the Russian goes, the German goes, or the vice versa. So. But yeah, the Russians actually, so there's a big difference now in Germany and Russia. So the culture is so different. So in Russia, they remember everything that happened, like from the start of Russia to the end of Russia. And then in Germany, the Germans are like, I think they don't care because it's like, oh, Nazi Germany, that happened what, like 60 years ago? We don't even remember. But the Russians remember. The Russians have a victory parade every year, the Russians. Ura, ura. The Russians are always reminding everyone how Russia beat Nazi Germany, as if Nazi Germany still exists, and it doesn't. Like Germany's totally different. So what's the point of these so these victory parades are so great, and Putin is such a great leader, and he is wonderful, and Putin is so tall and manly and well endowed. But no, seriously, like Germany, you go to Germany now, and it's like they're all cool and they like smoking cigarettes. Not all. Oh no, so that's France. You go to Germany now, and they're cool. They're not smoking cigarettes in Germany, but they're still cool. A lot of them are rappers and stuff, and they're always trying to be like, "Oh, this is Germany's different now. It's not Nazi Germany no more. It's totally different." Imagine if like a restaurant served people crap food for 20 years and spit in the food, and then one day they changed the name of the restaurant, and it's like everyone's supposed to just go now because they changed the name. It's not the same. Isn't that the restaurant where they treated customers like shit for 20 years and they spit in the food? No, no, they changed the name last week. So it's a totally different restaurant now. Okay, let's go. So, yeah, that's Nazi Germany for you. They always got tricks up their sleeve. But, to be fair, Nazi Germany wasn't fair, so fuck them. No. No, actually, when you look at history, are the Russians did a lot of evil shit too. So it's like, why aren't the Russians reminding everyone about all the evil shit that Russia did? Like Stalin, so that's really biased. Like that's not, at least the Germans be like, and it's funny too because when we were growing up, we heard more bad stuff that the Germans did than the good stuff. And I'm like, but they did a lot of good stuff too, right? Like for example, France. I think when Germany invaded France, like the English Canadians were once silent and were like, "Oh, I don't see anything." And then the Scottish people were like, "Oh, not my business." And then the Americans were like, "Oh, Germany invaded France. So what are we having for dinner tonight?" Like no one said anything. But then when Germany invaded like Poland, people were like, "We love Polish people, you know? We love Polish people. Why would you do that, Germany? Why would you invade Poland? We love Polish people." But I don't think the United States loved Polish people enough to like get off their butt and do anything. And then when Nazi Germany said that they were going to do another prohibition and take away all the beer, suddenly the Americans were like, "He's a Nazi." Everyone go. He's trying to take away the beer. Oh yeah, and also he invaded France, Poland, and you Nazi trying to take the beer away from Americans. So, but yeah, the United States of America, they're so great. Oh, I was watching another series. Okay, so I saw this series like 10 years ago. It was in my 20s. I watched it, and now I'm rewatching it because it's good. And so last week, right after work, I had finished my last series, and I got home, and then I realized, oh, I don't have a series now to watch because I finished the last series. So when I got home from work last week, I made it a point to find a good new series to replace. So sometimes if you can't find a new series, just find a series you watched before, but you watched a while ago and you can't remember too well. Just watch a series like that, and it's almost like a new series. Then you're watching the episodes of the series that you already supposed to have watched like 10 years ago, and you realize how much you like don't pay attention when you're watching a TV show. Like you're doing other stuff, like you're doing calculus or you're balancing equations or stuff. So like I'm watching this TV show yesterday, And I'm like, wow, I missed a lot when I watched it 10 years ago. I was not paying attention. So it's called The Last Ship, and it's like basically like this pandemic virus, kind of like COVID, but this series was produced before COVID. And like right before, literally the series ended like right before COVID, but it was 5 seasons, all about a basically like a military ship that is like the only ship safe from a virus because they were secluded in the middle of the ocean. So they didn't get like the virus outbreak that everyone else got around the world. So it's called The Last Ship. It's actually a good series. I recommend it a lot actually. So, and the last ship too, it's like so it's all like these military guys, Navy guys, and they're all like tall with muscles and um they're on like the Navy ship. And then it's like there's like this British woman and she's British, so she obviously knows what she's doing. She sounds like she knows what she's doing. We have to get the sample before the virus replicates. It's the primordial sample. I'm sure everyone, when they hear the British accent, like, well, there's two different British accents, right? Like, there's the British accent of like the lower trash people, like, um, get a bloody job, get out your flat and get a bloody job, right? There's like those kind of, and then there's the British like people from the BBC, like tonight we're gonna watch a documentary about planet Saturn and all of the rings of planet Saturn. They sound so intelligent, so they have one of those kind of British women on the last ship, and every episode she sounds, But then they start to like dive into her and be like, oh, maybe she doesn't know what she's doing, or maybe she's not a good person. So, but she sounded great. That we have to get another primordial sample in order to stop the virus from replicating. Okay, the American military guys are just going and doing it. So.